Hello all, quick update on the paint job of the 69/71 Bastard Tr6. I have applied a high build primer over top of the initial priming, which was done with Nason full epoxy. I'm using a Nason product for the high build as well. It's called Selectprime 42119, and I'm using the 48387 activator. This is not an expensive product, but it sprays really well, and I applied it with an inexpensive Harbor Freight siphon gun. It has a cup that dangles down below it. This is a 1.8 tip gun, and it sprays this heavier material quite well. I don't know that my 1.3s and 1.4s would have even applied it this well. And I've got to tell you, it goes on without orange peel. It's nice and flat. So it builds well. This is 3 wet coats, no orange peel. It sands real well. I've already sanded 2 of my doors. This is sanded out in 180 to the point where I've got something peeking through, and then I stop and I sand with 320 after that on my way to 400. I am probably going to be able to fix the small little spots that need fixing with some icing and not do another coat. So I think this is the end of priming, and once I get all this sanded out, then I'll be painting. The back sides of all these panels have been carefully sanded out and primed with epoxy, but they haven't been sanded. This is as it came from the gun. So this is all ready to be sanded out. I'm not going to worry too much about how perfect the finish is on the inside of the doors. It'll look all right. This will be acrylic enamel. It'll flow a little bit. So this is the 180 sand scratch, and it's quite smooth. I'm very happy with it. The sandpaper didn't gum up at all. This is about 12 hours from having sprayed it, so I'm real happy. Here's an idea. Took a step ladder and clamped a couple pieces of wood to it, and made a little sort of an easel, you might say, to hold the hood up so that I can work on it. I'm an older guy, I'm 61. My back hurts all the doggone time, so I got to get my work up to where I can really to where I can stand and do it. I have to be able to stand up and do it. So you might want to try that out. That's a nice way to get your work in position to, especially to spray it. You probably have a step ladder, and less trash falls in it when you spray in the vertical position. So I highly recommend this. Also, I went to Home Depot and got some 3/4 inch conduit and made myself a couple of stands. 4 10-foot sticks of conduit makes 2 of these. This is about 36 inches high. And I have a chain arrangement so that I can control how broad it is and also how high or how short it is. These put my work about 36 inches off the ground. They come in real handy. I should have built some earlier. I built 2. I need to build 2 more because the painting process here, I need to lay all this out all over the shop here so I can get it painted. And by the way, boy, has this ever been messy. This shop's just a mess. It's an ungodly mess. Sanded out the trunk lid also, again, just to where it's peeking through. This is with 180, and of course there are spots where it's a little bit low, maybe by the thickness of a couple pieces of paper. So this is where it is. This is 180. The initial sanding of the Selectprime, as you see this corner here, needs a little bit of work. There's a high spot in the metal right there in the middle of the view, and that's giving me a little bit of trouble. I've had a hard time getting that pecked down. I can't ease it down like I want to. This trunk lid had a luggage rack attached to it at one time. And you know what? It wasn't a rusty trunk lid, and I thought, you know, I'm going to save the doggone thing. I have a better trunk lid, but I wanted to use this one. And I think if I work at this a little bit more, I might be able to use a spoon and very easily persuade that down a little bit. But that happens to correspond where one of the mounts for the luggage rack was, and I apparently just didn't metal work it enough. And to be honest with you, it's been bugging me ever since I've been trying to paint it. This is just an example. You got to get the metal work right first. So to think you're going to just cover this up with primer and it'll be all right, no, that's not going to work that way. So I'm going to have to finesse these two spots. Other than that, the trunk lid's fine. The fenders turned out fine. Here I'm using a trash can, my preferred method of holding body panels, but really I need to go with the little folding stand. It works well. Keep a vacuum ready to go because this is just tremendously messy. Car itself, while dusty, the engine compartment's ready to go. Front valance has been sanded out. It's ready for paint. I've decided, gentlemen, to use bed liner on the inside. So all this here will be bed lined on the inside of the fenders too. The plenum is ready to go. I put a little wipe of Rage on this to flatten it out just a little bit. And I may not use a high build on this because so little of it shows, and I've flat sanded it many times. So it's ready to go. Door aperture's ready to go. This back panel here, might put a little bit of high build on it. But generally speaking, it's looking well. You don't use the high build primer to fill dents. Maybe very, very light indentations, but you're only talking about something that's 3 or 4 thicknesses of a piece of paper. Really, the use that I'm using it for is to be able to control my sand scratch, because I want a 400 or 500 grit surface on this because I want to paint in acrylic enamel. Now, if I were painting in a metallic or a base coat clear coat, I would have to go finer than that, I think. Especially with metallics, because if you have a very faint scratch in the surface, the little metallic flake, rather than lying flat, will end over and sort of fall down into the ditch, and it'll actually accentuate a sand scratch. It's amazing. So 400 or 500 is probably not nearly smooth enough, or maybe better put, small enough sand scratch to allow you to paint a metallic. You probably have to go 800 or maybe even 1,000. But I don't paint metallic, so I'm no expert. But like I say, I'll paint this with acrylic enamel, and I think it'll look fine. I'm going with acrylic enamel because it's a more traditional look and the color is more saturated. The base coat clear coat is a stronger finish. It's more durable, but it just looks too plastic to me. So I'm going to take the plunge, paint this in acrylic enamel. I may regret it later, but it'll have a nice, soft, buttery green look to it, I hope. At least all indications are that it will. Anyway, I got to go to California and Oregon to make $1 to pay for all this, so I'm leaving out of here tomorrow. But I'm going to clean up a little bit here and my poor suffering shop, and let all these sleep the sleep of the dead for a week while I'm gone. And then when I get back, I'm going to sand all this out, and I very well may be painting. So that's where it is. Anyway, that's the update. Good luck on your projects. Bye.